Well, welcome to Agape. Today, we're going to continue our series on the Eightfold Path. We're going to look at right view, the first of the Eightfold Path. And so, but before we do, Agape is a worldwide spiritual center. A spiritual center in what? In that we teach science of mind. We teach the power of presence. We teach meditation. We teach self-love. We're all about the practical aspects of spirituality. In other words, how to live each day knowing your connection with all that is and have the greatest and most expansive experience of life that you can. I believe that's our purpose. I can't find anything else that serves it. I do not believe we're here to please the Creator. I think we've been given complete freedom. We've been given the power of using the law of cause and effect. Therefore, the best that I can come up with is to experience everything in life as fully as we can. And so we're going to get into that. Over the next 8 weeks, we're going to take each of these paths and examine them and see how can we make them practical in our lives. But before I get into my talk, let's take a moment and let's get ourselves centered. So if you would, kindly bring yourself to a comfortable seated upright position. Your back is straight. Hands gently resting on your lap. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. Consciously focusing on the breath going in and the breath going out. The breath going in and the breath going out. The breath going in and the breath going out. And as you continue to breathe, feel your body becoming more and more relaxed, more at ease. Feel your shoulders just drop gently, your jaw unclench, your face relax. Notice that thoughts just drift by. You don't have any reason to analyze them, hold on to them. They just float by like clouds. And you become peaceful in mind and body. And let go of any attachment to feelings that you may have. Just get into a place of balance where you're not happy or sad. You're in that point in the middle. And the same thing's true with your mind. And your body's at ease. And gently ask yourself a question in this state. If I could choose to be anything that would allow me to experience a greater sense of love, what would that be? Or maybe even more importantly, what would that look like and what would that feel like? So I want you to start to imagine, sense, and feel. Who would you be to have that experience? What would you be doing? What would you be feeling? And so for a moment, just imagine, sense, and feel that you are that person. And now in your mind, vividly fill in the details, creating that image. Now with that image, you've only begun to create it, but you can come back to it anytime you want and create the bigger image, because you understand that the creative power within you responds to the images that you create. In particular, the images that you create with feeling. And so now anchor that image in your mind, that new image of a new life, of a new you, of a new experience. And know that your mind now is starting to bring it forward into your experience. Implant it, and now let it go. And having done this short but brief and yet powerful work, fill yourself with a state of gratitude. And now gently bring your awareness back to this time, to this place, to this day, and to your body, knowing all is well and all is right. So last week I talked about the Eightfold Path. And as I explored it, I realized there was so much more to discuss. So I've decided that I'm going to do a series and take each of the paths, one each week, and delve into it deeply. And as I prepared to be with you on this, I was able to go deeper and deeper into it. And so I want to share some insights with you. And so today we're going to talk about the first path, right view, the first step on the path to freedom. And I did say the first step. And so before we get into the particulars, why right view? Well, because everything begins with how you see life. People will look at the same event. 3 people, let's line them up, 3 people looking at the same event. They'll have a completely different experience. Why? Because each of them is looking at it through a different view, through a different lens. So having the right view begins with how you look at things. And when you understand that, you really go to the idea that your view creates your world. Your view is the filter through which you see everything that is happening around you, whether it's a limited view or expansive view, however that view is colored by what emotions you might have attached to looking at things. So your view creates your view. And here's the big thing, why right view? Because suffering comes from misunderstanding, from not looking at the world and what's happening. I'll use the word correctly. So if you can change how you view the world, you can change whether you suffer or not. So the question becomes, are you truly seeing reality? Or are you seeing it through filters of your past, your wounds, the stories you tell yourself, your fears, or your assumptions? The first step, right view, asks us to open our eyes to what is. What is really in front of you, not what story you've created about it, not how the fear about that comes into play, not because you suffered in the past by having an experience that wasn't all that great. So let's look at this idea. What is right view? Right view means it's complete, it's harmonious, and it's aligned. And I think that's going to become clear, could become clearer as we go through this. Complete means you see the whole picture. Harmonious, you see that life is imbalanced. And it's aligned. It's aligned with how you think. It's aligned how the universe is. Next, it's seeing life clearly and truthfully, not the illusion. We create illusions all the time with our views. The illusion that this is the right person. Well, is it the right person? Are you truthful about that? Or are you infatuated? Is it the right job? Or are you infatuated with the money? Are you using your... See, we've got to learn to be truthful with ourselves instead of filtering things and making them more or less than what they really are. And then what is right view? Right view is understanding the Four Noble Truths, and we talked about that a few weeks ago. But let's just remind ourselves, what is it? It means seeing things as they are, not as we want them to be, or not as we fear they might be, but as they truly are. So when we go back and we look at the Four Noble Truths, the first of the Noble Truth is life contains suffering. Pure and simple, life contains suffering. The second is suffering is caused by cravings and attachment. Your desires that you have attachment to having them happen the exact way you want is going to cause suffering. You're in a world that it's happening all around you. It's not going to change for you. You can't change your kid's view. You can't change your wife's view. You can't change your husband's view, your parents' view. The only thing you can change is your perception. And your suffering is based on the fact that you crave things and you want the world to be exactly. You're trying to control the world and you can't do that. The third truth is there is a way out. And then it goes into the fourth truth, and the fourth truth is the Eightfold Path is that way. So we're just going to take one today, right view, and we're going to explore that in depth. Right view means knowing these truths, not intellectually, but experientially. And this is really critical. A lot of people have an intellectual understanding of things, but they've never applied them in their life. I had the opportunity to do this last week. On Friday, Jean and I were driving along, and a young man, he just pulled out, and I didn't see him, and he came out of a parking lot, and he didn't look, and he hit us. Now, you could get really upset that young man did this, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But what was interesting is when we were hit and we finally came to a stop, I took a breath and I asked my wife, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes." And then I scanned my own body and said, "Am I okay?" It was interesting that my attention went right to my wife to find out if she was okay. And then I asked myself, "Am I okay?" And I realized I was in a little bit of shock. And then I got out of the car, I looked, and the young man came out, and I asked him, "Are you okay?" And then I got my focus, and my logical brain came out and said, "Okay, do you have your license and your insurance card?" And he went to get it, and I took pictures of his car, I took pictures of his license plate, I took pictures of him, I took a picture of my car, several of them in the damage, I took a picture of the environment, I then took a picture of his driver's license, a picture of his insurance card. He asked if his dad would come, and I said, and he wanted to talk with me, I said, fine. His dad came, they were both very nice. I looked at this accident as something that just happened. You could look at it and say, if I'd left my home 5 seconds earlier or 5 seconds later, it wouldn't have happened. What if he'd have looked 2 ways? Those are useless questions. You look at the situation, what is, and you accept what is. What is was, he pulled out, he didn't look, he hit my vehicle. Okay, how do I move forward now? You see, let's take it now to the next level. What causes suffering? We suffer because we think the world should be different than it is. I couldn't think that the accident didn't happen. It did happen. If I thought it should happen, I kept focusing. Why did he do that? Why was it there? Why didn't I leave? That causes me suffering. I wasn't suffering. Was I inconvenienced? Sure. But the interesting thing about being inconvenienced, I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people about this, and I've connected with a lot of people, so there are benefits coming from it. Here's the other reason why we suffer. We suffer because we believe our thoughts are facts. Almost all of our thoughts are interpretations or perceptions of what happened. They're not the fact. The fact is, I was hit. That's the only fact there. Everything else is a perception of how I see what surrounded the environment. We suffer because we think and we forget that everything is impermanent. Every emotion, every high, every low, every moment, there's change. But we want things to stay a specific way. And by doing that, we are going to suffer because nothing stays the same. In the short time I've been talking to you, millions, if not billions of cells in your bodies have died and new ones have been reborn. You have 50 trillion cells in your body. And in the course of 1 year, almost all of them have been let go and replaced by new cells, maybe more than once, twice, 3 times. Nothing stays the same. So pain, suffering is inevitable. But here's the key thing. Suffering is a choice. It's a choice that comes from resisting what is. You can't change what is. It happened. It's in the past. It's what is. You can't change that. So the only logical choice we have is to accept it. To live with right view is to see that all things arise and all things pass away. Everything is interconnected and nothing stands alone. That accident affected me. It affected my wife. It affected that young man. It affected his father, his family. It affected my sons. It affected everyone that I tell the story of. It's like a pebble is thrown into a pond that's smooth. That pebble causes a ripple. And everything in the pond experiences the ripple. Nothing stands alone. Here's the other thing. To live right view is to understand that your inner state creates your outer experience. Before I went on that accident, I just finished up my morning meditation practice. My inner state was in a good place. So when I had the accident, that inner state is what came out. It wasn't something else that could have come out. And I understand, and right view really teaches that. Clinging leads to suffering. Letting go leads to freedom. And I don't know about you, but for me, freedom is the #1 value I have in this world. When I feel confined, I am not happy. I think our natural state is one to be free. And with the right view, we can see that and we can act from that. You see, right view gives us power. When we shift how we see, we shift how we live. It's so simple, but it's not easy. When we shift how we see, we shift how we live. When we shift how we live, we shift how we experience life. So I want to go into the idea that in order to have right view, we've got to use inquiry. And there's a power of inquiry. And that's where we ask ourselves good questions. And the good questions start with, is this true? Is this fact? Or is it opinion? Then we can ask the question, here's the outpicturing of something. What am I believing right now? I can tell you in the accident what I believed. The car is not important. Life is more important. The first question I asked my wife was, are you okay? First question I asked that young man is, are you okay? It was not about, how was I going to fix the car? I understand it's just a material thing. It's the inner state that matters. Another great question to ask is, if you're caught up in something, is there another way to see this? Because there is. There are infinite ways that you can look at any situation, and you get to determine that. So ask that question. If you're not feeling good, if you're suffering, ask the question, is there another way I can look at this? You see, our minds make up stories. Right view invites us to challenge them with love. Challenge them with understanding. Challenge them without the need to be right. Right view doesn't mean being right. It means seeing things as they are. We get our freedom through clarity. That's the key thing. You're free when you see things with a clear vision. So it means to see things as they are. To let go of blame, shame, and victim. I could go on and blame this young man. I could have shamed him. I could have shamed myself that said, well, I should have been a better driver. I should have had vision in the back of my head. Oh my God, I'm a victim here. Any of those three qualities take away my ability to feel freedom. Victimhood is the number one thing. When you're a victim, you're saying, I'm at the mercy of something outside of me. There's no freedom in that. If I'm shameful, if I'm feeling shame, then I'm worried about someone thinking certain things about me. Oh my God, I had an accident. What will people think about me? No, I had an accident. And I don't need to blame anyone. Things happen. With freedom and clarity, you respond with presence and not programming. Do you get it? Just about everything you feel is a result of how you've been programmed. Either you've done the programming or your parents, your family, the schools, social media, the government, businesses. Almost everything you do is habitual. Habitual means a habit, a program. And most of them you don't even know you've got. We don't. It's to discover them and to create programs that serve us feeling free. This is not a spiritual bypass. What I'm talking about with you is spiritual responsibility. I believe that spirituality is the ability to look at life as it is, fully experience it, let it go, and move forward and have another experience. And the cycle is endless. I believe that we can have endless experiences and each of them greater than the one before. Not a bypass. It takes great courage to accept what is and move forward. So, what could you do? I like to look at it as a weekly practice. So first, for this next week, I would invite you to look at your reactions. Because every reaction is a doorway to insight. When you react to something, it's telling you what your inner belief is. So when you have a reaction, look at it and see, is this really what I want to do? Is this how I really want to react to something? Or could I respond differently? Next one, question your thoughts. Just because it feels true doesn't mean it is. Ask that person there, they challenged me and I knew I was right. Why would they challenge me? How could they see it differently? Where did this thought that I believe I'm true on come from? Is it really true? A lot of ways to look that up. Here's a big one. Before you speak, pause and ask, am I seeing clearly? That's right. Am I seeing clearly, or is my view tainted by my perceptions? These are great questions. Notice your reactions. Every reaction's a doorway. Just because it feels true doesn't mean it is. And then you ask, am I seeing clearly? And then after having asked those questions, journal nightly. Reflect on moments where you saw through the illusion. And then maybe after the fact, journal where you didn't see through the illusion. You were caught in the illusion. This brings clarity to your mind. And when you write it down, there's a power that it anchors it deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind, making it a better habit. Right view is not a theory. It's a daily commitment to awareness. I particularly love this because my number one value is to become more aware of my infinite nature, not my limited nature, my infinite nature. And so for me, right view is there. I want you to remember, life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. You're not a victim. You get to choose how you respond to every single thing that happens. And the energy you put out comes back to you. So if you put out fear, fear comes back. If you put out blame, blame comes back. Put out love, put out presence, put out clarity. Remember, you and only you have the power to choose how you see. No one else can control that. So what you see determines your experience, ergo, you are 100% responsible for your experience. And I think the key thing to also remember is clarity gives you freedom. You're not bound by right or wrong. You're seeing it clearly as it is. So I like to have mantras. And mantras are words you focus on. And you could be driving, and you could say this mantra over and over and over again, and it'll stop your crazy thoughts. Just here's the mantra, very simply. I see, I understand, I choose. I see, I understand, I choose. Do you notice that this is a formula for life? See it clearly. Understand the reality of what you're seeing, and then now make your next choice. This is something I think is a worthwhile practice as you're beginning to get a hold and get right view. I see, I understand, I choose. You see, right view is the beginning of wisdom, because without awareness, there is no freedom. So let's walk the path with right view, not to escape life, but to live it fully with our eyes wide open. This is a gift, life. Let's look at it, and let's not be bound by it. Let's free ourselves by accepting what is, and moving forward because we see it clearly now. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you would like to get prior episodes of this, you can go to the Agape website, agapespiritualcenter.com, and all my talks go back 15 years, almost 16 years are back there. Also, when you're on Agape's website, agapespiritualcenter.com, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter and my daily thought. They'll stimulate you. They'll support you in this journey. You can look at our calendar and find all of the events that you can plug into. Most of them are virtual. And while you're there, make a donation, because it's through your donations that we're able to bring this message to the world. I want you to know I'm grateful for you. It's an honor to me that you took the time to listen to the ideas. I don't know what's right, but what I do know is I've got ideas that seem to work for me. You might try them and see if they work for you. I look forward to hearing from you and your results.